The sun was slipping behind the rooftops, painting the sky in streaks of orange and pink, but Emma barely noticed. She dragged herself up the driveway, shoulders aching from the long day at work, and opened the door to her quiet home. The house smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and the evening air that had drifted in through the open windows. She dropped her bag by the door, kicked off her shoes, and sighed. It was one of those days where nothing seemed to go right, where every email and every phone call felt heavier than the last. She ran a hand through her hair, trying to shake off the tension, but it clung to her like a second skin. Her son Daniel was in the living room, sprawled on the couch with his legs tucked under him, earbuds in, phone in hand. He didn't look up when she walked past, but Emma knew he was watching her out of the corner of his eye. Picking up on the tired slump of her shoulders, the way her eyes flickered with fatigue, she forced a small smile. "Hey, honey, how was your day?" she asked, though her voice sounded flat even to her own ears. Daniel shrugged, still focused on his phone. "It was fine," he mumbled. There was a pause, then a softer, quieter voice. "Mom, can we talk?" Emma froze. Something in his tone made her pause mid-step. It wasn't a question or a casual request. It was serious. Her heart thumped a little faster. She set her bag down completely and leaned against the doorway, studying him. His head was tilted, brows slightly furrowed, hands fidgeting with the hem of his sweatshirt. He wasn't usually this hesitant. "Sure," she said carefully. "Come sit with me in the kitchen. Let's have a snack while we talk." She motioned toward the counter. Daniel nodded, setting his phone aside, and followed her. There was an air of quiet tension that she couldn't shake, the kind of silence that makes your stomach twist with anticipation. Emma started pouring them both a glass of juice, trying to sound casual, but her mind raced. What could he want to tell her? Something about school, a problem with friends, or something else? She didn't dare finish that thought. They sat down at the kitchen table, the warm glow of the overhead light softening the edges of the day. Emma watched him, trying to read his expression. Daniel picked at the rim of his glass, eyes fixed on the table, jaw tight. Emma wanted to reach out to touch his hand, but she waited. She wanted him to speak in his own time. "I've been keeping something from you," he said finally, voice small but steady. "I wasn't sure how to tell you. I didn't want you to be mad or upset." He paused, swallowing hard, then met her gaze for the first time. His brown eyes were serious, searching. Emma's chest tightened. Her mind spun, guessing at what he might say, imagining every scenario from minor to life-changing. "Whatever it is, Daniel, you can tell me. You know that, right?" He nodded, fingers tightening around the glass. "It's not about school or friends. It's about you. About something I noticed." Emma's eyebrows lifted slightly. She tried to mask her curiosity, tried to breathe slowly, but it was hard. Her heart was already racing. "Go on," she said. Daniel took a deep breath, a small tremble in his shoulders. "I see how hard you've been working, Mom. I see you worrying about bills, the house, everything. And I see the way you try to hide when you're tired or upset. I've seen you cry when you think I'm not looking, and I know it's been hard for you." Emma's throat constricted. She tried to blink back the sudden lump of emotion threatening to spill. She had never wanted Daniel to see her vulnerability. She had worked so hard to keep life steady for him, to appear strong, unshaken. But here he was, looking right through the mask she wore every day, speaking words she hadn't expected to hear from a 13-year-old. Daniel's voice grew softer, more urgent. "I wanted to tell you that. I think you deserve happiness, Mom, more than just surviving day to day. I know it's been years since Dad left, and maybe you think it's too late, or that things can't change. But you deserve someone who cares for you, someone who sees you. Really sees you? And I think I found someone who does." Emma blinked, trying to process. Her mind jumped to a dozen places. What could he mean? Someone who cares for her. Who could that be? She knew she had been lonely, especially in recent months. And she had caught herself thinking about connection more than she wanted to admit. But she had never imagined that Daniel would notice, or even care enough to bring it up. Her son looked nervous, on the edge of saying something he couldn't take back. I didn't know if I should tell you, he said. I didn't want to make things weird. But I think you should know. He leaned forward slightly, earnest and vulnerable. It's Mr. Carter. He's kind, and he talks to me after practice, and he mentioned once that he thinks you're amazing. I thought, maybe you should know. I think he really cares about you. Emma's breath caught. She wasn't sure if it was shock, disbelief, or something warmer, stirring deep inside her chest. Mr. Carter, she remembered him the way he always smiled at her during school events. The gentle way he talked to Daniel, the way he had lingered politely during a parent-teacher meeting. She had brushed it off, telling herself she was imagining it, that she was only noticing kindness where there was none. But now, through Daniel's eyes, it seemed real. Someone had seen her. Not just her job title, or her role as a mother, but her. All the quiet hours of struggle, all the moments of trying to hold life together, all the tiny pieces of her heart that she had kept guarded. Emma felt a wave of emotion she hadn't expected, pride in her son for noticing, surprise at the possibility that someone outside their small household could care, and a tiny, hesitant spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't alone. Daniel watched her carefully, as if he could sense the shift. He didn't speak again, giving her space to take in his words. Emma reached across the table and took his hand. His grip was small, reassuring, and for the first time that day, she felt a small sense of calm amid the chaos of her mind. Thank you, Daniel, she whispered, for noticing and for saying something. That means more than you know. He gave a small smile, a mixture of relief and anticipation. And in that moment, as the last light of day fell through the window, Emma realized that what her son had shared wasn't just a secret, was a key, a gentle nudge towards something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. The possibility of connection, of love, of her heart opening again. The evening stretched on quietly, but Emma couldn't stop thinking. Her son's words had set something in motion. She felt a strange combination of exhaustion and anticipation. The lingering tension of a long day mixed with the thrill of something she hadn't dared imagine. And as she washed the dishes and listened to Daniel hum softly in the next room, she knew that nothing would feel the same again. The quiet of the house was comforting, but beneath it, a new energy pulsed in unspoken promise, a gentle invitation to let her heart remember what it felt like to hope. And Emma, tired as she was, realized that maybe, just maybe, tomorrow could be the start of something entirely new. This part now captures fast-paced emotional depth, builds the cliffhanger for Daniel's secret, and stays fully safe for YouTube monetization. No adult content, no violence, just heartfelt emotion and subtle romantic undertones. Emma sat at the kitchen table, her mind racing after Daniel's words. The quiet hum of the refrigerator and the distant sounds of cars passing by outside seemed louder than usual. She stared at her son, who fidgeted nervously with his fingers, trying to gather the courage to speak. His hesitation tugged at her heart in a way she hadn't expected. This wasn't just a casual confession. He had noticed things she had buried deep, things she hadn't wanted anyone to see. Daniel took a deep breath and finally looked her in the eye. I know you've been carrying so much for years, Mom, he said softly. Ever since Dad left, you've done everything for me. You work all day, make sure I have what I need, and still try to keep the house in order. I see the late nights, the quiet tears, the way you try to hide when you're tired. And I know it's not easy. Emma's throat tightened. He was right. Every day had been a balancing act, a careful performance to make sure her son felt safe and cared for, even when she was breaking inside. Hearing him acknowledge it now, in such a gentle, honest way, brought a lump to her throat she couldn't swallow down. She wanted to reach out, to hug him, but she stayed still, letting him speak, letting the moment unfold. I've been meaning to tell you, Daniel continued, voice gaining confidence, that I think you deserve more than just managing life. You deserve someone who sees you, Mom. Someone who appreciates you for who you are, who notices the little things, who makes you feel happy. Emma blinked, surprised. Her mind raced to memories she had buried, glimpses of her own longing for companionship. Fleeting thoughts of hope she quickly dismissed, and the quiet ache of loneliness that had settled over the years. She had convinced herself she was too tired, too busy, too cautious to feel again. But Daniel's words stirred something long dormant in her heart. He leaned forward, hands clasped tightly on the table, and said, I think I found someone who cares about you. Someone who really sees you. It's Mr. Carter. He helps me with basketball after school sometimes. He said, you're amazing. I thought you should know. Emma's heart skipped a beat. Mr. Carter. She remembered him, the way he always smiled warmly. The calm, steady way he spoke. The kind attention he showed not just to Daniel, but to her, too. She had noticed it before in small, fleeting moments, but she had dismissed them, telling herself she was imagining it. Yet hearing it through Daniel, seeing his earnest expression, made it real. A warmth spread through her chest, mingling with a surprising flutter of hope. It wasn't just the idea that someone cared, it was the way Daniel had observed it, recognized it, and wanted to share it with her. His concern wasn't just for her happiness. It was for her heart. Emma felt a mix of pride and tenderness toward him, realizing that he had grown into someone thoughtful and empathetic, capable of noticing emotions most adults might overlook. She reached across the table and took his hand, feeling the small, reassuring grip of his fingers. Daniel, thank you for telling me, she said softly. I didn't know you noticed all of that. You're very observant and very kind to think about me this way. He smiled, a shy, tentative curve of his lips, and shrugged. I couldn't help it. I wanted you to know that someone cares, and you shouldn't have to do everything alone. Emma felt tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. Not tears of sadness, but of release, of recognition, of hope. She realized how long it had been since she felt truly seen. Life had become a series of routines, responsibilities, and sacrifices, leaving little room for her own desires. And now, with Daniel's gentle honesty, she could sense a door opening, one she hadn't dared approach in years. For a moment, they sat in silence, the weight of the day settling around them like a soft blanket. The room felt warmer somehow, infused with an unspoken connection between mother and son. Daniel's words had shifted something in Emma, not just about Mr. Carter, but about herself. She realized she had been holding back, not allowing herself to hope, to feel, to imagine a life where she could be happy again. Finally, Emma spoke, her voice quiet but steady. I appreciate you telling me this, Daniel. More than you know. You've been carrying your own worries too, and yet you're thinking about mine. That's very mature of you, and it means the world. Daniel's eyes brightened, a small flicker of pride crossing his face. I just want you to be happy, he said. I don't want you to feel alone. Emma smiled, feeling a gentle warmth spread through her chest. It was rare, she realized, to have someone care about her feelings in such a thoughtful way. And the fact that it came from her son, who had grown into someone perceptive and tender, made it even more meaningful. Her thoughts drifted to Mr. Carter again, the way he had been kind, patient, and attentive. She had noticed subtle things, a lingering glance, a thoughtful gesture, but she had pushed them aside, telling herself she couldn't let herself hope. Now, with Daniel's words as a bridge, she allowed herself to remember, to notice, to wonder. The kitchen felt quieter, the evenings slower, yet somehow fuller. Emma realized that Daniel's secret had given her more than information, it had given her perspective. She could see herself through someone else's eyes, feel the care and attention she had longed for, and consider that maybe, just maybe, life could offer more than routine and solitude. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to imagine a future where she could feel lighthearted, appreciated and noticed not just by her son, but by someone who genuinely cared. She could picture small smiles, quiet conversations, shared laughter, and the comfort of knowing she wasn't alone. Daniel watched her carefully, sensing the shift. He had taken a risk in revealing what he had noticed, and seeing her reaction, he felt a quiet satisfaction. He didn't need words to reassure him. He could feel it in the way her eyes softened, the subtle relaxation of her shoulders, the small smile that tugged at the corners of her lips. Emma reached over, squeezing his hand gently. "Thank you for giving me this gift, Daniel," she said, voice thick with emotion. "It's not easy to speak your heart, and I know that. You've reminded me that life can surprise us, and sometimes those surprises are exactly what we need." Daniel smiled again, a little more confidently this time. "I just wanted you to know. You deserve to be happy, Mom, and maybe it's time to let yourself feel that." The evening stretched on, but Emma no longer felt the weight of exhaustion pressing down. Instead, she felt a stirring of hope, a sense of possibility that had been missing for years. She realized that Daniel's secret hadn't just been about Mr. Carter. It had been about giving her permission to feel again, to hope again, to consider that life could hold joy for her. As the last rays of sunlight faded outside the window, Emma felt her heart lift, fragile but alive. The long day of stress and worry hadn't disappeared, but it no longer felt suffocating. Daniel's honesty had changed the tone of the evening, filling it with warmth, reflection, and a quiet anticipation for what might come next. In that moment, Emma understood something profound. Love and care could come from unexpected places. And sometimes the person who sees your heart the clearest is the one you least expect. Her son had reminded her of the next morning. Emma woke with a restless energy she hadn't felt in years. The sunlight filtered through the blinds, painting stripes across her bedroom floor. But she couldn't focus on the beauty of the day. Her mind kept drifting back to Daniel's words from last night, replaying them in detail. "He sees me. He noticed everything. He wants me to be happy." The thought made her heart flutter in a way she hadn't allowed herself to feel for a long time. She moved through her morning routine with a lightness that surprised her. Even doing the usual chores, making breakfast, packing Daniel's lunch, straightening the living room, felt different. Every small sound, every glance, every ordinary detail seemed brighter, sharper, more meaningful. Her son's words had unlocked something inside her. Something fragile but alive. A sense that life could hold more than routine. That her heart could still respond to hope. At school later that day, Emma found herself thinking about Mr. Carter more than she had intended. She tried to push the thoughts away. After all, she had responsibilities, bills, and deadlines waiting, but the memory of his gentle smile, the way he had lingered politely in conversation, kept pulling her back. She remembered the subtle gestures, like how he always asked about Daniel with genuine interest, or how he had shared small moments of encouragement that she had brushed off at the time. It wasn't just curiosity. It was a stirring of longing. Emma realized that she had been protecting herself for so long, avoiding emotional risks, that she had forgotten what it felt like to notice someone in return. Daniel's secret had given her permission, silently and beautifully, to explore those feelings. She allowed herself a small, shy smile as she pictured him standing by the gym doors, waiting for the kids to finish practice, his posture calm but attentive. Later that afternoon, Emma decided to take a walk to clear her mind. The cool breeze on her face was refreshing, but her thoughts stayed anchored on Mr. Carter. She recalled the moments at the basketball court when he had offered small gestures of kindnesses, cat on Daniel's back after a tough practice, a supportive word about schoolwork, the way he had shared his own stories to connect with both of them. The memories made her heart race, a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Her phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. "Don't forget, practice today. Mr. Carter will be there." Emma's stomach fluttered, a small, nervous anticipation she hadn't felt in years. She paused before replying, realizing that even this simple message was enough to spark a thrill of curiosity and hope. By the time she arrived at the basketball court, the sun was low, casting golden light over the empty parking lot. Daniel was already on the court, bouncing the ball with energy and focus. And Mr. Carter stood nearby, watching him with a patient, encouraging smile. Emma felt her pulse quicken as their eyes met briefly. He gave a small nod, a silent acknowledgement, and Emma returned it with a hesitant, careful smile. She stayed on the sidelines at first, watching Daniel practice, noticing the ease and care in Mr. Carter's guidance. There was something calming about the way he interacted with her son. Something steady and reassuring that Emma hadn't realized she had missed. Every laugh Daniel let out, every word Mr. Carter spoke seemed to echo in her chest. She felt her own heart responding, a quiet flutter of excitement and connection that she hadn't allowed herself in years. After a while, Daniel took a break and ran over to her. "Mom, come closer. He wants to show you something." His enthusiasm was contagious, and Emma found herself moving toward them, curiosity rising. Mr. Carter held the basketball, gesturing for Emma to step onto the court for a simple demonstration. She hesitated, then laughed quietly at the absurdity, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "You're going to throw it?" she asked, her voice light but nervous. He nodded, smiling kindly. "Just give it a try. Don't worry about anything else." Emma took a deep breath and tossed the ball. It wobbled awkwardly, but Mr. Carter caught it effortlessly. He handed it back to her with a reassuring smile. "See? Not so bad," he said, his tone gentle, patient, encouraging. Emma felt a rush of warmth, a feeling that she hadn't experienced in a long time. Attention, care, and appreciation without expectation or judgment. At truth, gently and tenderly, and she knew that her heart would never be the same again. They practiced a few more throws, Daniel laughing at her mistakes, and Emma laughed too, feeling lighter than she had in months. There was something thrilling in this small, simple connection. Something that stirred her heart in ways she hadn't anticipated. She noticed the way Mr. Carter's eyes met hers occasionally, the faint smile that lingered when he looked at her, and she felt a gentle tug of longing and curiosity she couldn't ignore. When practice ended, Daniel ran off to grab his water bottle, leaving Emma and Mr. Carter alone. The court felt quieter now, the golden light of evening making the moment feel intimate and suspended in time. He looked at her, his expression steady, calm, and thoughtful. "You've been through a lot," he said quietly. "I can see it in how you carry yourself, the little things you do for Daniel. I wanted you to know that someone notices, that someone cares." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She had expected the compliment to feel simple, casual, but it hit her differently, soft, sincere, and full of meaning. It wasn't just words. It was recognition, acknowledgement, and validation of the quiet struggles she carried every day. She felt a blush rise to her cheeks, a warmth spreading through her chest. "Thank you," she said softly, unsure how else to respond. That means a lot." He nodded, giving her a look that was both gentle and steady, as if he understood without needing to explain. Emma realized that her feelings were shifting, a quiet, thrilling sense of possibility emerging where there had once been only routine and fatigue. Daniel had opened a door with his honesty, and now she was stepping through it, feeling the first hints of hope and connection in years as they walked off the court together, collecting Daniel and his bag. Emma couldn't help but feel the stirring of excitement, curiosity, and something deeper, longing for companionship, a desire for recognition, and a hope that life could still offer meaningful connections. She noticed the smallest details, the way Mr. Carter laughed at Daniel's jokes, the subtle kindness in his gestures, the genuine warmth in his eyes, and her heart responded quietly, insistently. That evening as they drove home, Emma replayed every moment in her mind. She realized that Daniel's secret had not only revealed Mr. Carter's feelings, but it had also reminded her of her own capacity to feel hope and connect. She thought about the long nights she had spent alone, the routines she had followed, and the walls she had built around her heart. For the first time in years, she felt those walls shifting, fragile and tentative, but ready to let in light, care, and perhaps love by the time they reached home. Emma felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. Her son's laughter filled the car as he talked about a play he had learned in practice. But Emma's mind lingered on Mr. Carter, the way he had seen her, the gentle encouragement he had offered, and the quiet possibility of something new. She realized that life could surprise her in ways she hadn't expected, and that maybe, just maybe, she was ready to let herself feel again. And as she tucked Daniel in that night, Watching him drift to sleep with a contented smile, she felt a surge of gratitude for his honesty. His words, his observation, and his courage had changed the course of her day, her evening, and perhaps even her heart. She knew that tomorrow could bring more moments, more clarity, and a deeper connection, but for now, she allowed herself to rest. Her heart quietly awakened, fragile yet alive, ready for whatever came next, the next afternoon. Emma felt a nervous excitement she hadn't experienced in years. She was driving Daniel to basketball practice, her hands gripping the steering wheel a little tighter than usual. The sun was warm on her skin, the streets alive with the quiet hum of suburban life. Yet her mind was elsewhere on Mr. Carter. She couldn't stop thinking about the way he had looked at her yesterday. The small gestures, the steady kindness that had stirred something deep inside her. Daniel chattered about practice, about plays he wanted to try, about drills he had learned, but Emma only half listened. She smiled at his enthusiasm, enjoying his energy, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Mr. Carter. Daniel noticed, of course, and sneaked a glance at her, a small mischievous smile tugging at his lips. Emma felt her cheeks warm. When they arrived at the court, Daniel ran ahead, already excited to meet his teammates. Emma stayed near the sidelines, taking a moment to steady her breathing. And then she saw him, Mr. Carter, standing in the late afternoon light. His posture calm and confident, a soft smile on his face as he watched the kids practice. The way he looked at her made her heart race. It wasn't bold or forward. It was simply observant, attentive, and sincere. Daniel bounced a basketball toward him, and Mr. Carter caught it effortlessly, his eyes flicking toward Emma. "Hey, Emma," he said warmly, nodding in greeting. She returned the nod, a small smile spreading across her face. There was something comfortable and yet thrilling about the way he made her feel seen, as if the stress and loneliness of her life were acknowledged and understood in that simple moment. Practice went on. The sound of bouncing balls, sneakers scraping the court, and laughter filling the air. Emma found herself noticing small details she hadn't before: the way Mr. Carter encouraged Daniel and the other kids patiently, the genuine smile that never felt forced, the way he paused to listen, really listen, when someone spoke. Each observation deepened the flutter in her chest, a quiet excitement she hadn't let herself feel in years. When the practice ended, Daniel ran over to grab his water bottle, leaving Emma and Mr. Carter alone for the first time since she arrived. The court felt quieter now, the golden light of late afternoon casting a warm glow over everything. Emma felt a nervous flutter in her stomach, a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. She didn't know exactly how to act, but she didn't want to leave without acknowledging the connection that had been building. "Emma," Mr. Carter began, his voice calm and steady, "I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I've noticed how hard you work for Daniel. I've seen how much you do and how quietly you handle everything. It's impressive. And I wanted you to know that someone notices, someone really cares." Emma felt a rush of warmth, her heart skipping a beat. She had expected the words to be simple pleasantries, but they carried weightiness, recognition, and genuine appreciation. She felt herself blushing slightly, not from embarrassment, but from a growing awareness of how deeply his words touched her. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Really means a lot. I haven't felt noticed like that in a long time." Her heart was pounding, but she tried to keep her tone calm. She didn't want to rush anything, didn't want to overthink, but she couldn't deny the thrill of being seen. He smiled gently, the kind of smile that made her feel safe and appreciated all at once. "You deserve to be happy," he said. "Not just for Daniel, but for yourself too. Life can be hard, but that doesn't mean you have to carry it all alone." Emma's chest tightened with emotion. His words were more than kind, they were validating, offering her permission to hope, to feel, to imagine that life could be brighter than her long routines of work and worry. She realized that Daniel's observation yesterday had been the catalyst, giving her courage to notice what she had been feeling, and now Mr. Carter's presence made those feelings tangible. Daniel ran back to them, bouncing the ball excitedly, breaking the quiet tension. "Mom, watch this," he shouted, performing a trick shot. Emma laughed, feeling her chest lift with lightness she hadn't felt in months. Mr. Carter clapped and encouraged him, and Emma found herself smiling, laughing quietly, feeling a warmth that spread through her like sunlight. After a while, practice ended completely. The kids began gathering their things, and the parking lot slowly emptied. Emma and Mr. Carter walked toward the car together, Daniel chatting and laughing ahead. She noticed the small, easy rhythm of their conversation, the calm way he spoke, the natural attention he gave her. It felt effortless, yet significant. The kind of connection that didn't need grand gestures to make her heart respond. When they reached the car, Emma turned to him, a mixture of curiosity and hope in her expression. I'm glad you said what you did yesterday," she said, voice soft. It made me realize that I've been closing myself off for too long. And seeing you, noticing you, it feels good." Mr. Carter's eyes softened, and he nodded slightly. "I'm glad you feel that way," he said. "I didn't want to push or make things complicated. I just wanted you to know that there's someone who cares, who sees you for all that you do and all that you are." Emma felt her heart stir. She realized in that moment that the weight she had carried for so long, exhaustion, worry, loneliness, was beginning to lift. Daniel's secret had opened the door, but this connection, this recognition, was allowing her to step through it fully. She felt a fragile hope, delicate and tentative, but real. As they drove home, the car filled with Daniel's chatter, Emma allowed herself to feel a quiet excitement. Her heart felt lighter, her mind clearer, and a sense of possibility settled in the space where doubt and routine had lived for so long. She noticed the small gestures of care in Mr. Carter's attention, his patience, his warmth, the quiet way he made her feel appreciated, and realized that life could still surprise her with moments of genuine connection. By the time they arrived home, the sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows over the neighborhood. Emma helped Daniel with his